Picture this. Every single thing that's ever happened to you, every win, every betrayal, every moment you cursed as bad luck, it's all part of something bigger. Buddhism doesn't mess around with coincidences. Nothing happens by accident, not your heartbreak, not your exhaustion, not even finding this exact peace right now. The universe isn't sending lessons. It is the lesson. There's this ancient teaching that's whispering to you right now. You're drowning in a world that demands everything: your attention, your hustle, your fear. You've blamed fate, cursed your luck, begged life for answers. But what if you're asking all the wrong questions? Society lied to you. They said pain is a flaw. Your anxiety? A mistake. Your failures? Proof you're broken. Buddhism flips this completely upside down. Your deepest struggles are sacred messages waiting to be decoded. That coworker who backstabbed you? A reflection. The dream that crumbled. A redirect to something greater. Time's ticking. Every second you ignore this truth, you're wasting lifetimes of wisdom. I've spent years uncovering these secrets, and today I'm handing you the key. You'll learn why karma isn't punishment, it's pure science. Why your Netflix binges are quietly sabotaging your future. How to transform your worst pain into rocket fuel. And in the final minutes, a shocking twist about the real reason you're alive. A truth so powerful it changes everything. If you take one thing from this, let it be this. Life isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. The chaos isn't random, it's a message. Decode it, stay until the end, and I'll reveal the one Buddhist rule that's quietly shaping your relationships, your wealth, your purpose. Ignore this, and you'll keep chasing luck like a dog chasing its tail. Master it? You'll finally see the invisible threads weaving your destiny together. Your move. Number 1. The law of karma. The silent architect of your reality. A man walked through thick forest once. Didn't realize a single spark from his campfire had lit dry leaves behind him. Hours later, fierce fire burned everything in its path. He thought it was accident, just bad luck. But was it? Truth is, every fire starts somewhere. Just like every moment in your life gets shaped by an unseen force. Karma. Most people get karma completely wrong. They see it as instant punishment, like the universe is keeping some cosmic scorecard of good and bad deeds. But karma's quieter than that, more patient. It's the result of everything you think, say, and do. Like invisible threads weaving your life's story. Every action plants a seed, no matter how small. And just like seeds take time to grow, your choices often take time to show their results. In today's world, karma isn't just about big actions, it's about daily habits too. Every day you do things without thinking that shape your future. Consider this. The endless scrolling on social media, soaking in negativity, comparing yourself to others. These seem harmless, right? But they're seeds. Complaining, holding anger, doubting yourself. Each one adds a thread to your life's pattern. What you do repeatedly, you become. The most dangerous karma isn't the big mistakes, it's the small, unnoticed habits. The way you wake up and immediately check your phone. How you eat without gratitude. The way you let little annoyances control your mood. These everyday actions carry the heaviest karmic weight because they shape your subconscious mind. They program how you react, what you expect, the energy you bring into the world. You're not suffering because of one bad choice. You're suffering because of countless small, unconscious choices made every single day. But here's the good news. Just as one spark can start a fire, one moment of awareness can change everything. You don't need to fix your whole life at once. Start with one habit. Pick something simple, Like your morning coffee. Instead of drinking it while distracted, pause, take a deep breath, feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. Set an intention, peace, focus, strength. Let that small act become a mindful ritual. See how it influences the rest of your day. Buddha once said, "What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create." Your karma isn't set in stone. It's shaped by choices you make every moment. Right now, you have the power to change your future. So ask yourself, what daily habit is quietly draining your energy? What if you replaced it with awareness, with purpose? What if instead of being stuck in old patterns, you became the designer of your own life? Try it for just one day. Bring mindfulness to one ordinary action. When you notice the change, no matter how small, share your experience. Because life isn't random. It's a mirror of what you create. 2. Impermanence. The only constant is change. A child builds a sand castle by the shore, shaping each tower with care. For hours, they admire their creation, believing it will stand forever. But as tide rises, waves erase their masterpiece. The child cries, devastated by the loss. Yet as sun sets, they return next day, only to build again. Realizing that the joy was never in keeping the castle, but in creating it. This is life. Everything you hold on to, your job, your relationships, your youth. It's like that sand castle. You believe it belongs to you, that you can make it last. But no matter how tightly you grip, the waves of time will always take it away. Buddha taught that root of suffering was attachment, not because love, success, or happiness are wrong, but because we suffer when we refuse to accept their impermanence. Think about moments that caused you the most pain. Was it loss of a job? End of a relationship? Fading of a dream? Most people don't suffer because things change. They suffer because they expect things to stay the same. Truth is, everything you fear losing was never truly yours to begin with. Your identity shifts. People enter and leave your life. Even your own body ages with time. Resisting change is like standing in the ocean and commanding tide to stop. It will never listen. But here's the twist. Impermanence isn't a tragedy. It's freedom. Imagine if nothing ever changed. You would never grow, never evolve, never experience the beauty of transformation. Losing a job can force you to discover new passion. End of relationship can lead you to self-love. Even painful endings create space for new beginnings. You are not meant to hold on to every phase of your life. You're meant to flow with it, like a river that never stops moving. Yet many of us live trapped in the past, clinging to what was, afraid to let go. But what if instead of fearing change, you embraced it? Here's a simple practice. Write a goodbye letter to something or someone you've been holding on to. Maybe it's an old version of yourself, a failed relationship, a dream that no longer serves you. Pour your emotions into the letter, then burn it or bury it. Let the act symbolize your acceptance of change. Buddha once said, "You can only lose what you cling to, so ask yourself, what ending are you avoiding that could be a gift? What if instead of resisting, you leaned into uncertainty, trusting that life is clearing space for something new?" Tomorrow, the child will return to the beach, knowing their sandcastle will be washed away. But this time they won't cry. They will build again, because they finally understand. The waves don't take anything from them. They only remind them that nothing was ever meant to stay. 3. Non-attachment. The art of holding lightly. A man found a rare bird in the forest once. Its feathers shimmered like gold. Its song was unlike anything he'd ever heard. Afraid it would fly away, he caged it tightly in his hands. But the harder he squeezed, the more the bird struggled, until finally it suffocated in his grip. Devastated, he realized his mistake. In trying to keep it, he destroyed it. This is how most of us live. We cling to relationships, to success, to validation, believing that if we hold on tightly enough, we can make things last. But the more desperate we are to control something, the more power it has over us. A person obsessed with their reputation will always be at mercy of others' opinions. Someone fixated on wealth will never feel rich enough. The more you believe you need something to be happy, the more it enslaves you. Non-attachment is not about indifference. It doesn't mean giving up on dreams, relationships, or ambition. It means holding everything lightly, engaging fully in life without gripping it so tightly that it suffocates. Imagine a parent who loves their child deeply but doesn't force them to become what they want. Instead of molding them into a version of themselves, they allow the child to become who they're meant to be. That is the art of non-attachment, to love without possessing, to strive without obsession, to care without fear. Look at your own life. How much suffering comes from attachment? The frustration when plans don't go as expected. The anxiety of checking your phone for likes or messages. The disappointment when someone doesn't meet your expectations. All of this pain stems from same illusion, the belief that happiness depends on external conditions. But when you let go of the need to control outcomes, you step into real freedom. Buddha taught, you only lose what you cling to. Let that sink in. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every loss, it wasn't the event itself that caused suffering, but your attachment to what you thought should have been. Imagine if instead of resisting change, you flowed with it. Imagine if instead of fearing loss, you appreciated the present moment for what it is, a fleeting gift. Here's a simple way to practice non-attachment. Choose one space in your life, your desk, your closet, your phone, and declutter it. Get rid of what no longer serves you. Notice how it feels. That lightness you experience isn't just physical, it's mental. When you clear space in your life, you also clear space in your mind. And when your mind is free, you can finally receive the things that truly matter. So ask yourself, what are you gripping too tightly? What would happen if you simply let go? Non-attachment isn't about losing, it's about making space for something greater. And when you learn to hold life lightly, you will finally feel its weight lift from your shoulders. 4. Adversity as alchemy. Pain's hidden curriculum. A blacksmith takes raw metal and plunges it into fire. He pounds it relentlessly, folding it over and over again. To the untrained eye, this looks like destruction. But in reality, it is transformation. The heat, the pressure, the striking. It all strengthens the metal, refining it into a sword sharp enough to cut through anything. Without the fire, it would remain weak, brittle, useless. This is how life shapes you. Every hardship, every betrayal, every loss is forging you into something stronger. Yet most people see pain as punishment, as if suffering is some cruel mistake. But what if pain wasn't here to break you? What if it was here to wake you up? Buddha taught that suffering is not an enemy, it is a messenger. It arrives to teach, to redirect, to sharpen. But instead of listening, we resist. We ask, why is this happening to me? Instead of, what is this trying to teach me? Think about a time you experienced deep pain. Maybe it was heartbreak, maybe failure, maybe life blindsided you with something you never expected. In the moment, it felt like the end. But looking back, can you see the lesson? That heartbreak forced you to build self-respect. That failure led you to an opportunity you would have never considered. That setback humbled you, gave you wisdom, made you more compassionate. The strongest people you know, the wisest, the most resilient, they didn't become that way by avoiding hardship. They became that way by letting pain shape them, not define them. Yet we often resist pain because we think it shouldn't be there. But suffering is like a compass. It points to what needs healing, what needs attention. Chronic exhaustion, it's telling you to slow down. Betrayal, it's teaching you about trust and boundaries. Disappointment, it's revealing the gap between your expectations and reality. The greater the pain, the louder life is trying to redirect you. If you ignore it, it will keep returning, growing louder each time, until you have no choice but to listen. So instead of running from your struggles, lean into them. Here's a simple practice. Revisit a past pain, the one you've been trying to forget. Sit with it. Write down, what did this pain force me to learn? Be honest. Did it force you to set boundaries? To stand up for yourself? To change direction? What if that pain wasn't random, but your soul's way of guiding you towards something greater? Buddha once said, "No mud, no lotus." The most beautiful flowers grow from the dirtiest waters. Your struggles are not meaningless. They are shaping you, refining you, preparing you. So ask yourself, what if your worst struggle is actually your soul's GPS? What if life is not against you, but calling you to rise? Next time you feel lost in the fire, remember, you are not being burned. You are being forged. 5. Interconnectedness. The invisible web of life. A traveler stood at edge of a vast lake once, tossing in a single pebble. He watched as ripples spread outward, touching every part of the water's surface. It was just one small action, yet it moved the entire lake. This is how life works. Everything is connected. Every thought, every word, every action sends ripples into the world, whether you realize it or not. Think about this. You wake up in a bad mood and snap at a coworker. That coworker, now irritated, goes home and is short with their child. The child, feeling unloved, lashes out at a classmate next day. One moment of anger rippling far beyond where it started. But kindness works the same way. A simple compliment to a stranger might brighten their day, influencing how they treat their family, their friends, even strangers they meet later. Buddha taught, when you touch one thing with deep awareness, you touch everything. Yet so many people feel alone, as if they're isolated from the world. But loneliness is an illusion. You are never truly separate. The air you breathe was once exhaled by another. The food you eat was grown by hands you'll never meet. The emotions you carry are shaped by people around you, like a spider's web. Pluck one thread, and the whole structure trembles. If you've ever felt like your life doesn't matter, think again. Every choice you make shifts the world in ways you cannot see. The way you treat others, the energy you bring into a room, the words you choose to speak. All of it has power. There is no such thing as a meaningless action. Even smallest act of kindness can change someone's path without you ever knowing it. But here's the twist. You are not only affecting the world, you are also being shaped by it. The people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, the conversations you have. They are all shaping your thoughts, your energy, your future. If you surround yourself with negativity, you will absorb it. But if you choose to be around people who uplift and inspire, that energy will ripple into you and through you to others. So how can you practice this truth in your daily life? Here's something simple. Perform one anonymous act of kindness. Pay for a stranger's coffee. Leave a note of encouragement on a car windshield. Donate without recognition. Do something small, expecting nothing in return. Then notice what happens, not just in the world around you, but in yourself. The act of giving without attachment will remind you of what you've forgotten. You are part of something much larger than yourself. Buddha once said, "As a bee gathers nectar and does not harm the flower, so do the wise move through the world." Imagine what would happen if everyone lived with this awareness. Imagine if instead of thinking we are separate, we recognized that we are one. The world would change in an instant, and it starts with you. What ripple will you send out today? 6. Right effort, effortless mastery. A master archer stands in the forest, bow in hand, arrow notched. His breathing slows. He does not focus on the target. He focuses on his grip, his stance, the pull of the string. When he releases, the arrow flies effortlessly, striking its mark. But a beginner does the opposite. He obsesses over the bullseye. His hands shake with tension, and the arrow misses. The lesson? Mastery is not about force. It is about presence. In today's world, we're taught that success comes from constant struggle. Hustle culture tells you that if you're not grinding, you're falling behind. But Buddha taught something different. Right effort, true effort, is not about exhausting yourself. It is about moving with purpose, without resistance. Look at your own life. How many times have you pushed so hard that you burned out? How often have you chased a goal only to feel empty when you reached it? The harder you grasp, the more control slips through your fingers. Think about a time when you were completely in the flow. Maybe you were painting, writing, running, doing something where time disappeared. In that moment, you weren't chasing a result. You were simply present. That is right effort. Creativity flows when you stop forcing it. Deep work happens when you stop obsessing over the outcome. The most skilled athletes, artists, and thinkers don't fight their craft. They become one with it. Effortlessness is the highest form of effort. But here's the twist. Overworking is a form of control. You grind endlessly, thinking that if you just push harder, you can force success. But real growth happens when you trust the process. A tree does not strain to grow. It simply reaches toward the sun. The river does not force itself downstream. It moves with the current. What if you stopped forcing and started flowing? Here's a simple challenge. For one task today, shift your focus from the outcome to the action. If you're writing, forget about how many people will read it. Just write. If you're working out, don't think about the scale. Just move your body. If you're learning a skill, stop worrying about perfection. Just practice. When you remove the pressure, something incredible happens. You work better. You think clearer. You enjoy the process. Buddha once said, "Do not chase after success. Become the person who is worthy of success, and it will come naturally." Imagine what would happen if you stopped chasing, stopped forcing, and simply showed up, fully engaged, every single day. Mastery is not about stress. It is about deep, intentional action. So ask yourself, are you holding the bow correctly? Or are you too fixated on the target? Let go. Focus on the movement, not the finish line. Trust that the arrow will land where it needs to, because when effort becomes effortless, success is inevitable. 7. The mirror of mindfulness, seeing reality. Nakedly. A traveler came upon a lake so still, it reflected the sky like a perfect mirror. Curious, he tossed a stone into the water. Ripples distorted the reflection. He realized something profound. The mind is just like this lake. When still, it sees truth. When disturbed, it only sees distortion. Most people live in a storm, not a lake. They are lost in thoughts, replaying past mistakes, fearing future failures. They sip from a cup full of regret, anxiety, and doubt, never realizing they are the ones stirring the chaos. Buddha taught, "The present moment is the only door to enlightenment." But how often do you truly live in the present? Think about your daily life. How many times have you eaten a meal while scrolling your phone, barely tasting the food? How often do you walk somewhere lost in thought, arriving without remembering the journey? You are breathing. But are you alive? Anxiety comes from future tripping, worrying about things that haven't happened yet. Regret comes from past tripping, clinging to things you cannot change. Mindfulness is different. It is drinking the present like cool water, savoring each moment as it unfolds. But here's the twist. You don't need to meditate for hours to master mindfulness. It starts with the simplest things. Brush your teeth with full attention. Feel the bristles on your gums. Taste the mint. Listen to the sound. When you drink tea, feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. When you walk, notice the sensation of your feet touching the ground. These moments may seem small, but they are everything. If you can be present in brushing your teeth, you can be present in your life. The modern world thrives on distraction. Social media, endless notifications, constant noise. Each one pulls you further from the now. But when you practice mindfulness, something shifts. Your thoughts slow, your emotions stabilize. You begin to see reality as it is, not as your fears or desires painted it. Imagine if instead of reacting impulsively, you could observe your thoughts like clouds drifting across the sky. What if instead of drowning in emotions, you could simply watch the waves rise and fall? Here's a challenge. Choose one daily activity and do it with full presence. It could be eating, walking, showering, anything. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back. Feel the textures, hear the sounds. Be fully where you are. At first, it may seem simple, even insignificant. But over time, you will notice a profound shift. Life slows down, clarity sharpens, joy emerges from the smallest things. A storm in a teacup is just a storm until you decide to stop stirring. The mind, when left undisturbed, naturally returns to peace. So ask yourself, are you sipping the chaos, or are you watching it settle? The choice is yours. Still the water, and reality will reveal itself. 8. The illusion of self, the ultimate freedom. A wave crashes against the shore, believing it is separate from the vast ocean. It fights to maintain its form, fearing dissolution, unaware that it was never a part to begin with. This is the illusion of self, the belief that you are a fixed, unchanging identity, when in reality you are fluid, ever-changing, inseparable from the whole. What if everything you think you are is just a story? Modern life feeds this illusion. Social media convinces you that you must be someone, successful, attractive, important. Every like, every comment, every comparison reinforces a fragile identity, one built on external validation. You believe you must be better, smarter, richer, happier. But ask yourself, who is this self that needs to be more? Buddhism teaches that the self is like a river, always flowing, never the same. But most people cling to a false sense of identity. You define yourself by your past, by your wounds, by the labels given to you. I am not good enough. I am a failure. I am shy. But these are just borrowed stories, conditioning passed down by family, society, and experience. Who were you before the world told you who to be? Here's the truth. Your insecurities aren't yours. They are hand-me-downs, reinforced by repetition. The character you've been playing is just that, a role, not reality. What happens when you drop the act? What remains when you stop trying to be someone? Freedom. The moment you let go of the need to be something fixed, you become limitless. Think about a time when you lost yourself in something, a conversation, a passion, a moment of pure joy. In those moments, you weren't performing. You simply were. No fear, no doubt, no comparison, just being. That is your true nature, not the mask you wear to fit expectations. Like a wave realizing it was never separate from the ocean, you are already whole. But here's the twist. Even the idea of finding yourself is a trap. There is no fixed self to find, only an awareness that you are always changing. The more you cling to a rigid identity, the more you suffer. Let go, and you become whatever the moment requires. Strong when needed, soft when necessary, free always. Imagine a tree that refuses to shed its leaves in winter. It clings desperately, trying to hold on. But in doing so, it resists its natural rhythm. When spring comes, it struggles to bloom. You too are meant to evolve. Who you were 5 years ago is not who you are today, and who you are now is not who you will be. Clinging to an outdated identity only holds you back. Here's your challenge. What story about yourself is holding you hostage? Write it down. Look at it. Ask yourself, who gave you this story? Is it even true? Then let it go. Burn it. Tear it. Release it. Because the moment you stop clinging to who you think you are, you step into who you were meant to be. A wave is never separate from the ocean, and you are never separate from life itself. The illusion of self is just that, an illusion. Stop trying to be something. Just be. 9. Wise compassion. Love with teeth. A mother lion does not coddle her cubs. She nurtures them. But when the time comes, she pushes them into the wild, not out of cruelty, but out of love. This is wise compassion. Love with teeth. Kindness with strength. Care without enabling. It is the balance between holding someone's hand and letting them walk on their own. True compassion does not shield people from pain. It helps them grow through it. Modern society confuses kindness with passivity. You're told to just be nice, to always be agreeable, to avoid confrontation. But real love is not about making people comfortable. It's about helping them become better. A friend spiraling into self-destruction does not need empty reassurances. They need truth. A child refusing to face their responsibilities does not need indulgence. They need guidance. To truly love is to be willing to say what is hard, to do what is difficult, to care enough to not just comfort, but to challenge. Buddhism teaches that compassion is not pity. It is understanding. It is seeing suffering clearly and choosing to act, not by feeding delusion, but by helping someone wake up. Buddha himself was not a passive teacher. He did not simply soothe people's worries. He challenged them to see beyond their illusions. When someone was trapped in their attachments, he didn't say, "It's okay, just be happy." He said, "Look deeper. See the truth." Because real kindness is not about making someone feel better in the moment. It's about helping them free themselves in the long run. Think about a time when someone told you a hard truth that changed your life. Maybe they called out your self-sabotage. Maybe they refused to support your excuses. Maybe they held up a mirror to your weaknesses, not to shame you, but to help you grow. That was real compassion. Because love without wisdom can become enabling, and wisdom without love can become cruelty. The balance is where transformation happens. Here's the twist. Toxic positivity is just another form of avoidance. Saying, "It's okay, just think positive," dismisses real pain. True compassion says, "I see your pain. Let's face it together. It does not rush to fix, but it does not ignore either. It sits in the fire with someone and helps them walk through it. It does not lie for the sake of comfort. It speaks truth for the sake of liberation. Imagine someone drowning. Would you simply shout, "Just swim"? "Just be happy"? Or would you reach in and pull them out? Real love is action. It is courage. It is the willingness to be firm when softness would cause harm. If you truly care about someone, you won't let them stay asleep in their suffering. You will help them wake up, even if they resist at first. Here's your challenge. Think of one person in your life who needs truth, not comfort. Instead of saying, "It's okay," say, "I see your struggle, and I won't let you stay stuck." Offer them support, but also honesty, because love without wisdom is blindness, and wisdom without love is emptiness. True compassion is both. It is fierce, it is tender, and it is the key to real transformation. 10. Emptiness, the fullness of nothingness. A bamboo flute is nothing but a hollow piece of wood. Yet from its emptiness, music is born. Without the space inside, there would be no melody, no sound, no beauty. The same is true for your mind, your life, your very existence. Emptiness is not the absence of something. It is the space for everything. Yet in the modern world, people fear emptiness. They fill their time with endless scrolling, their homes with clutter, their minds with noise. The fear of silence, of stillness, of nothingness keeps them running in circles, mistaking movement for progress, distraction for fulfillment. Buddhism teaches that emptiness is not a void, but potential. A mind cluttered with opinions, judgments, and desires cannot receive new wisdom. A life crowded with possessions and obligations has no room for growth. People believe they are stuck, but often they are simply too full of expectations, full of attachments, full of thoughts they never questioned. True clarity begins not by adding more, but by subtracting, by letting go, by creating space for something new. Here's the paradox. People chase happiness by accumulating more. Success, followers, knowledge. Yet fulfillment is found in less. The greatest breakthroughs, the deepest insights, the most profound moments of wisdom come in the silence between thoughts, in the stillness between actions. Think about it. When do your best ideas come? Not when you force them, but in moments of quiet, while showering, walking, or staring at the sky. Because when the mind stops grasping, truth emerges on its own. Imagine walking into a room packed with furniture, boxes, and objects stacked to the ceiling. You can't move. You can't breathe. Now imagine clearing the space, removing the excess, opening the windows, letting the light in. Suddenly, there is freedom, possibility, room for something new. The same applies to your inner world. Most people never hear their own wisdom, not because it isn't there, but because their mental space is too cluttered to listen. The modern world does not encourage emptiness. It sells distraction, consumption, and constant stimulation. But emptiness is where your power lives. Zen monks meditate not to achieve something, but to return to the natural state of spaciousness, to experience the fullness of nothingness. This is why Buddha said, "Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form." It means that what you call something is simply the arrangement of nothing. The cup is useful because of the space inside it. Your life becomes meaningful not because of how much you fill it, but because of the space you create for what truly matters. Here's your challenge. For 5 minutes a day, do nothing. No scrolling, no music, no distractions. Just sit, breathe. Witness your thoughts without engaging them. Notice the discomfort, the urge to do something. Then let it go. In that silence, you may just hear something deeper than the noise of everyday life. You may discover that emptiness is not lack, it is possibility. And in that space, your greatest transformation begins. Bonus principle: the law of resonance. A tuning fork, when struck, does not just create a sound, it vibrates, and in doing so makes other objects around it resonate at the same frequency. This is not magic, it is physics. But what if the same principle applies to your life? What if your thoughts, emotions, and energy are the tuning fork shaping everything around you? This is the law of resonance. You are not merely reacting to life, you are co-creating it. Look around you. Your reality is not random. The people you meet, the opportunities you receive, the obstacles you face, all of it mirrors the energy you emit. Complain often, and life gives you more reasons to complain. Radiate gratitude, and unexpected blessings unfold. This is not wishful thinking. It is the unseen law governing your existence. Have you ever noticed how negativity spreads like wildfire? One person's stress infects an entire room. One complaint turns into an entire conversation of dissatisfaction. But the opposite is also true. Walk into a space with genuine joy, and you lift the energy. Smile, and the world mirrors it back. Here's the twist. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. If you believe the world is cruel, you will unconsciously filter reality to confirm that belief. If you see possibility, doors will appear where others see walls. Your internal state is a magnet, pulling in experiences that match its frequency. Think about the times when everything seemed to go wrong. One problem triggering another, like dominoes. And then remember those moments when life just flowed, where synchronicities lined up effortlessly, like the universe itself was conspiring in your favor. That wasn't coincidence. That was resonance. Your mind is not just a processor of reality, it is a broadcaster. Every thought, every word you speak sends out a vibration that shapes your experience. The most dangerous habit is not failure, but unconscious self-sabotage. If your inner dialogue is filled with, "I'm not enough," "nothing ever works out for me," or "I don't deserve success," then life will reflect that belief back to you, confirming it in subtle, relentless ways. Not because the universe is cruel, but because it is obedient. It simply echoes the signal you send. Here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, speak only life-affirming words, even to yourself. No complaining, no self-criticism, no "I can't." Replace doubt with possibility. When you wake up, instead of saying, "Ugh, another stressful day," say, "Today holds unexpected blessings." Even if you don't fully believe it, watch how your reality begins to shift. Watch how the small synchronicities multiply, not because life is changing, but because you are. The title of this video says life is not a coincidence, and it's true, everything happens for a reason. But here's the secret. You are the reason. You are the tuning fork. You are the frequency. You are the architect of your reality. Change your resonance, and life will have no choice but to match it. Quick summary of the 10 principles. 1. The law of karma. Every action and thought plants seeds for future outcomes. Neutral habits, like autopilot routines, shape your life unconsciously. Audit daily actions to infuse intention. 2. Impermanence. Change is inevitable. Resisting it fuels anxiety. Endings create space for reinvention. Write a goodbye letter to release clinging. 3. Non-attachment. Clinging to outcomes breeds suffering. Letting go isn't indifference, it's fierce presence. Declutter spaces to experience mental freedom. 4. Adversity as alchemy. Pain is a teacher, not a punishment. Past hurts hold lessons. Ask, what did this pain force me to learn? 5. Interconnectedness. Your energy ripples into the world. Loneliness is an illusion. You are part of a cosmic web. Practice anonymous kindness. 6. Right effort. Mastery comes from effortless focus, not strain. Overworking is control. Trust the process. Focus on actions, not outcomes. 7. Mindfulness. Anxiety lives in the future, regret in the past. Drink the present like water. Start small, brush teeth with full attention. 8. The illusion of self. Identity is fluid, not fixed. Insecurities are borrowed stories. Ask, what story about myself is holding me hostage? 9. Wise compassion. True love speaks hard truths. Replace empty positivity with, I see your pain, let's face it together. 10. Emptiness. Space is potential, not void. Silence births breakthroughs. Sit in stillness for 5 minutes daily. The entire universe is your teacher. Life's chaos isn't random noise, it's a symphony of lessons. Buddhism teaches that every setback, every joy, every ordinary moment is a brushstroke on the canvas of your awakening. What if you stopped resisting the flow and instead asked, what is this moment trying to teach me? Modern life floods you with distractions, but Zen philosophy whispers, when walking, walk. When eating, eat. The greatest rebellion is to live fully in the present. Your phone buzzes, your mind races. Yet peace lives in the breath you're ignoring. You've been taught to chase permanence in a world built on change. But here's the mind-blowing truth. Your suffering isn't a flaw, it's a doorway. That breakup? A lesson in self-love. That failure? A guide to your purpose. Pain cracks you open so light can pour in. The obstacle is the path. Stop searching for better and realize you already hold the keys. Karma isn't fate, it's science. Your thoughts are architects, your actions, blueprints. Today, ask, am I building a prison or a palace? This is your wake-up call. The universe has been knocking. Will you answer? Hit like if this changed your perspective. Share with someone lost in chaos. Comment, I choose the path, and let's walk it together. The journey begins now. Thanks for watching. Click here to check out another video.